In the ancient world where myth and history blended together, few wonders have stirred the human imagination more than the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Among the 7 wonders of antiquity, the gardens stand out not only for their unmatched beauty, but also for the mystery that surrounds them. Ancient writers described a breathtaking oasis, an architectural miracle of elevated terraces, cascading waterfalls, exotic trees, and shimmering flowers, all rising high above the city of Babylon like a paradise suspended in the sky. Yet the truth behind this legendary marvel remains elusive. Were the Hanging Gardens a real achievement of ancient engineering, or a poetic creation that lived only in the imagination of early historians? Today we journey through the origins, symbolism, and legacy of this mysterious wonder. The story begins with Nebuchadnezzar II, the mighty king who ruled Babylon from 605 to 562 BC. Under his leadership, Babylon grew into one of the greatest cities of the ancient world, adorned with massive palaces, monumental walls, and temples decorated with brilliant blue tiles. It was during this golden age that the Hanging Gardens were said to have been built. According to ancient accounts, the gardens were not merely a display of royal wealth or public beauty. They were born from a personal act of love. Nebuchadnezzar's wife, Queen Amytis of Media, grew up in a land of green valleys and forested hills, very different from the flat, dry plains of Babylon. Far from home, she longed for the mountains and lush landscapes of her childhood. Moved by her sorrow, Nebuchadnezzar vowed to recreate the beauty of her homeland in the heart of his city. He ordered the construction of vast terraces layered high above the ground, filled with trees, fragrances, water streams, and flowering vines. It would be a living mountain, built not of stone alone, but of life, color, and flowing water. Yet everything we know about these gardens comes from Greek and Roman historians. Strangely, no surviving Babylonian texts mention them directly. Instead, writers such as Terraces, a Babylonian priest of the Hellenistic era, described the gardens as a massive structure supported by stone vaults, columns, and platforms strong enough to hold deep layers of soil. From these platforms, trees and plants grew so abundantly that the entire structure looked like a green mountain rising from the city. Strabo, the Greek geographer, added further details centuries later. He described the remarkable irrigation systems that lifted water from the Euphrates River to great heights, a feat that would have required advanced mechanical knowledge. If true, this would make the gardens not only beautiful, but one of the greatest engineering achievements of the ancient world. Yet the lack of Babylonian documentation leaves historians divided. Were the gardens real, exaggerated, or perhaps confused with similar structures elsewhere? One of the greatest questions surrounding the Hanging Gardens is their location. Ancient writers suggested that they were built near the royal palace, possibly connected to it through a series of waterways. If this was true, the gardens may have served not only as a sanctuary for the queen, but also as a demonstration of royal power, something magnificent enough to impress visiting rulers and diplomats. Some archaeologists believe the gardens were positioned near the Euphrates River, allowing engineers to draw water directly from the river into massive irrigation systems. Others think the gardens may have been constructed on a modified ziggurat, one of the step temple structures common in Mesopotamia. These gigantic platforms could have supported multiple layers of vegetation. Excavations in Babylon have uncovered foundations, reservoirs, and ancient plumbing systems, but none can be definitively linked to the gardens. This uncertainty has led some scholars to suggest that the Hanging Gardens may actually have existed in Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire, where descriptions of royal gardens resemble those attributed to Babylon. Regardless of their exact location, the engineering behind the Hanging Gardens remains one of the most fascinating aspects of the legend. Raising water from the Euphrates River to the upper terraces would have required advanced technology for the time. Ancient descriptions mention mechanisms similar to water wheels or Archimedean screws, machines capable of transporting water vertically, day after day in a continuous cycle. Once lifted, the water would have flowed through a complex network of channels, nourishing every level of the garden. Trees, shrubs, vines, and flowers from distant regions could survive in the desert heat thanks to this constant stream of water. The terraces would have created pockets of shade, allowing cool breezes to flow through the foliage and making the gardens feel like a true oasis. But to the people of Mesopotamia, the gardens represented much more than nature brought into the city. Water had profound symbolic meaning. In a dry climate, flowing water was synonymous with life, prosperity, and divine favor. Many ancient myths describe gods dwelling in sacred gardens, places filled with life, peace, and abundance. By creating a lush oasis in an arid region, Nebuchadnezzar would have been seen not just as a king, but as a ruler capable of harnessing divine power. The gardens symbolized harmony between humanity and nature, civilization and wilderness, the earthly world and the heavens. Even the word paradise has ancient roots meaning enclosed garden, perhaps inspired by structures like the Hanging Gardens. In this way, the gardens became more than a physical marvel. They were a spiritual statement, an attempt to create paradise on earth. Although centuries have passed, the legacy of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon continues to shape our imagination. Even if the physical structure has vanished, or perhaps never existed in the form described, the idea of the gardens has influenced modern architecture, engineering, and storytelling. Today, we see echoes of the ancient vision in vertical forests, eco-cities, and terrace-based skyscrapers around the world. Projects like Milan's Bosco Verticale or Singapore's futuristic Super Tree Grove show how nature can be integrated into urban environments, creating living spaces that mimic the harmony once attributed to the Hanging Gardens. Modern irrigation and environmental design also reflect ancient principles. Automated water systems and sustainable engineering demonstrate how the concepts behind the legendary gardens remain relevant in a world seeking greener solutions. But beyond architecture and engineering, the gardens endure as a symbol of human aspiration. They embody our desire to shape the environment, to create beauty in difficult places, and to reach for the extraordinary. Whether they were a tangible masterpiece or a poetic ideal, the Hanging Gardens represent a dream of paradise built by human hands. The mystery of their existence only adds to their allure. Without definitive evidence, we are left with a blend of fact and imagination, a fragment of ancient memory carried forward through generations of storytelling. This uncertainty invites us to wonder, what did the gardens truly look like? How did they feel? Did the water sound like flowing music through the terraces? Did the trees sway gently as the sun set over ancient Babylon? Perhaps the truth is somewhere between myth and reality. A real garden enhanced by centuries of imagination, a place whose memory outgrew its physical form, a symbol of love, power, engineering brilliance, and spiritual meaning, all woven together into one of history's most enchanting legends. What is certain is that the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, whether real or imagined, continue to captivate us thousands of years later. They stand as a testament to human creativity and resilience, reminding us that even in the harshest environments, beauty can rise. Even in uncertainty, imagination flourishes. And even without physical ruins, some wonders remain eternal, living in our stories, our art, and our dreams. As we look back at this legendary wonder, we are reminded that the greatest monuments are not always those built of stone, but those that endure in the human heart.